Welcome to Talking Giants presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. Giants sign Adoree Jackson. We got to get to that. And we got to catch up on some Giant stories. We forgot to do it on Friday, and then we forgot to do it on the weekend episode. First ever weekend episode in Talking Giants history, and it broke our download records by a good amount. Thank you, Kenny Galladay. Justin, how are you?
You can thank Kenny Galladay all you want. I'm thanking everybody who is against the world with us, Talking Giants versus the world. I'm thanking everybody who's against the world with us because for a weekend episode to break our download record, and we've had a pretty crazy week on the YouTubes, and it's been a lot of fun. Granted, I'm feeling the after effects right now of that crazy week that was last week, but with the Giants, the gifts keep on giving. We're adding up the numbers, Bobby, of the Giants spent how much this offseason so far? Mostly in 3 players, right? Leonard Williams with the contract extension, going out and getting Kenny Galladay with $70-some million, and now getting Adoree Jackson, who a little bit of expensive. I could care less about the cap price. I can care less about all that. Giants are improving, and the gifts keep on giving, which is so fun, and it's so awesome.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of fun, and the last 2 days were huge needs. These are awesome players in Adoree Jackson and Kenny Galladay. They were both huge needs. But, Justin, we're going to break it all down. First, we have to thank a lot of people. By the way, we hit 200 Patreon, so thank you, all of 200 of you in general, but a special thanks to these people. We got Jerry Powers, Jerry with a G. It always makes me think of Jerry Callahan when I see Jerry with a G. Or maybe Austin Powers' brother. George P. Forrest. Does he pee in the forest? Or does he, if George pees in the forest and no one around, that's not how the road goes.
Does it make a sound?
No. Does it stink?
Oh.
Blue Blood 81. I love when people would just bring their Twitter name to Patreon, and I love it. Dave Hernandez.
I need to comment on Blue Blood 81. He has the profile picture of Phil Simms in the sunglasses. It's one of my favorite pictures ever.
I know. If Talking Giants was around then, we would have made so much like Phil Simms merch off of that.
Oh yeah.
Dave Hernandez, who's been a longtime supporter.
Very.
I know him from his Dwayne Wade profile picture. Joe Clark, he's been on one of our Q&As. He's been a very long time supporter. So Joe. Andrew Florentino makes me think of Jim Florentine, the old crank caller guy. Or just Italian. Peter Weinberger, he's actually down here in Florida. Peter Weinberger. He was a Jew. Kelly Fisher's been a supporter of you longer than me, Justin.
Yeah, me and David Powers back at Bleeding Blue. Kelly's wonderful. Like, the positive affirmation that Kelly gives us is wonderful. So happy she's a Patreon.
Mark Reynolds has some really funny replies to a lot of tweets. I love him. Andre Rivas, what's going on, Andre? He's subscribed at 1111. Wow. That doesn't mean anything. People that believe that, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. It doesn't mean anything, but cool. It's the number to remember.
Good energy.
The Football Grump, our guy who hosts the Just Giants Fan podcast. It's actually the Giants podcast I listen to the most besides ours, so go check it out. Thank you, Grump. Leon Weiland. That's an awesome last name where it's like instead of Weiland, it's Wieland, it's Weiland. I'm Weiland. My running back in college, his name was Leon. Callum Morton. He's from Europe. He's from UK. Stefan Mice, he's from overseas of Mice and Men. Hopefully, Angel Duran, and then Chris Touche. We got a lot of people on here.
That was great.
Who are all these maniacs?
All these maniacs, Bobby, went to patreon.com/talkinggiants, and 200 people strong, and we're chucking along. They are part of the Patreon community, and for $2 a month, you get to watch shows as we are live streaming them right now. We almost got like 25, 30 people in here, which is absolutely awesome, absolutely cool. And twice a month, some shirt raffles, and Bobby gives you some free magnets. Patreon.com/talkinggiants.
Justin, the Giants signed Adoree Jackson, cornerback, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, on a 3-year, $39 million deal. We could talk about the contract in a bit. 5'11", 185 pounds, 25 years old. Justin, he's had some injury issues the past couple of years. That's really the only downfall when it comes to Adoree Jackson. He's had injury issues. He's missed 18 games over the past 2 seasons. 2020 had a knee sprain before week 1. and missed 11 games on the IR. And then in 2019 he had a foot strain and missed 5 games. But he is a cornerback 1, and he's getting paid like one. He's a cornerback 1 who's going to be asked to play cornerback 2. So Justin, talk about upgrades. We went from cornerback 2 being a weakness for the New York Giants to now we have a cornerback 1 caliber player playing that spot and perfectly complementing what the Giants do and what James Bradberry does. We're going to get into how it works for the whole team and how he is as a player, but man, Patrick Graham has to be through the roof for what this allows him to do on defense.
Bobby, I don't really know if cornerback 2 was necessarily a weakness. We viewed the position as a weakness.
The player is a weakness, but Patrick Graham compensated for it.
Correct. And my whole point is going to be, if you just look at the player wise, we went from guys that were just on the streets. We're not talking about, DeAndre Baker is cornerback 2 and we invested a lot in him, but he's just not a good player. We're not talking about, we were really just stuck with Corey Ballantyne because he was the 6th round pick and there was just nobody else to go. Bobby, there was a few alternating bodies coming in and out of CB2 with Ryan Lewis, Isaac Yadam, 2 most notably. And Yadam kind of settled down towards the latter part of the year. So the fact that we have a cornerback 1 caliber player in this spot, I mean, Patrick Graham has to just be grinning in his office right now, thinking about the potential of what he can do with the defense. We're going to break that down maybe in a little bit, but this does drastically changes our defense more than if we signed a premier edge rusher. I really do.
It depends what your definition of premier is. If we're talking like Yannick Ngakoue,
yeah, or
yes. If we're talking like Von Miller in his prime, no. But I don't think that's what you meant either. So
no, I'm thinking Shaq Barrett was like, if we somehow landed Shaq Barrett.
I agree.
Because what happens there, Bobby, is okay. The Giants have Shaq Barrett. Who else do they really have coming off the edge? Besides, Leonard Williams is the interior defensive line. Who else do they really have? Then that's another guy that you can just double team. And while I'm not saying I would not want a premier edge rusher, but the fact that we have 2 very, very good corners, one really proved himself in 2020, then the other one you hope he can also prove himself this year. I think that drastically changes the potential of this defense, and it makes the strength even more of a strength in the secondary.
And that's something I'm a big believer in. Make your strength the strength. Don't be afraid to strengthen a spot on your team that's already strong. Like don't be afraid to get really good at one spot. Like I've seen teams do that, and it seems to work. Where it's like, hey, yeah, do you maybe have this weakness at this spot? But it's like, you know what? Double down on this spot. Double down on get this spot really good. Have an elite position group. And right now, we'd have to go through the league, but we are top of the league when it comes to our DB group. Whether it's hoping Darnay Holmes was already pretty good in the slot, make another step forward. The safeties, McKinney, we're going to see what he proves himself in year 2, and then Ryan and Peppers are already those dudes. And then and think about depth wise. Now we have Love as like, how do we get Julian Love on the field? And that's a guy that we like. Like Julian Love's a guy that we like, and we're like, how in the hell do they get him on the field? So there's a lot of things you can do. But let's talk about who he is as a player, Justin. I know you got some numbers. I watched the film, did a film breakdown on him. He's a versatile player who can do it all. He can do anything he's asked in any type of scheme. 4.39 speed. 4.39 speed, and it shows up on tape. A lot of guys can run fast in a straight line. It shows up in tape. And if you watch the film breakdown I did, he was matched up against Tyreek Hill versus the Chiefs. There was a play, Justin, where he stumbled off the break. When Tyreek Hill, off his release, got Adoree Jackson to stumble, and Tyreek Hill on a crossing route, which is meant to get separation. It's like the best route to get separation on.
And that's how Tyreek Hill makes his money, by the way. Those crossing routes, that's how he makes his bread and butter.
Exactly. Adoree Jackson was able to recover and be step for step with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill really got him speed-wise once in that entire game. And even that route, Justin, was like a route we'll see like Darius Slayton do. Like got a good release, was able to stack the corner, get in front of the corner, and get that separation. So even in that, it wasn't like a typical Tyreek Hill burn you type player. And then I was like, okay, I want to see the contrast. So I went and watched the playoff game versus the Patriots. Brady's last game as a Patriot. Like, we got a QB who's getting the ball out quick, decisive. Obviously, that wasn't his best game, but part of that was Adoree Jackson. They were going at him on third down. He was making great stops against those guys on curl routes, those shorter routes. So you could play him in zone. He has a good feel for that zone coverage of switching responsibilities and also like having good instincts in it. And again, not just, not covering grass, covering a man. He does all that well. Like I said, he is a cornerback one. Okay. If like 2 years ago, Adoree Jackson's on our team, he's our no doubt cornerback one.
No, without a doubt. And the whole conversation of making your strength a strength, where that ultimately shows up is in the explosive play data, right? Tyreek Hill is an explosive player. And what Adoree Jackson did is he limited Tyreek Hill's explosive play potential. It's explosivity. Is that a word? I think it is. He limited that. And that is where the Giants are going to continue to improve. Let's just review. Giants defense explosive play rankings from 2020. They were the 6th best pass defense in the National Football League at preventing pass plays of 15 plus yards. That's a big deal because, Bobby, in 2019, the Giants pass defense, they were the 29th best. So they were the 3rd worst. They were the 3rd worst in the National Football League. James Betcher and that defense, I feel like they were giving up a 15 plus yard pass play every 3 plays. And that's, how drives would just get derailed. And, again, I talked last episode about flipping the game script. Kenny Galladay, his explosive play potential, it flips the game script. It takes you from the 20-yard line to midfield. It takes you from the midfield to the red zone. And that's exactly what you can do and what you want on offense, and you want the opposite effect on defensive guys that can prevent that. So you pulled this up from Ben Lindsay, PFF Ben Lindsay. Go give him a follow at PFF_Lindsay. Adoree Jackson on passes 20 plus yards downfield since 2017, 51 targets, 14 receptions allowed, 18 forced incompletions, second most in the NFL. And Bobby, there's even a season where if you look at Adoree Jackson and his advanced game log on Pro Football Reference, his 2018 season, the last season where he played 16 games, he was targeted 115 times. Now, last offseason, Bobby, in terms of my philosophy of how I think about the game of football, I would have been a little afraid at, looking at James Bradbury, looking at Adoree Jackson. These guys get targeted a lot. Does that mean that they're leaving their receivers open? Why do quarterbacks want to feel the need to target them? But what guys like Bradbury, what guys like Logan Ryan, what guys like Jabril Peppers, what literally almost every single guy in the secondary, including Adoree Jackson, what they have in common is that, yeah, they may be targeted, but they're going to make plays on the football. They may not come down with a bunch of interceptions, but they're going to force incompletions and they're going to make plays on the football. So it will be a net gain on the play. And that is exactly what you want out of your secondary.
And now we have both, similar, different players. Bradbury's not like that speed recovering man coverage. Bradbury's just great. Like Bradbury's great at everything. Like anything you ask Bradbury to do, he's great. Man, we're going from this allows the Giants to do so many more things. This allows Patrick Graham to do so many more things. Remember what we thought Patrick Graham was going to be coming into this season?
Yeah. So here's what we were afraid of, Bobby. We were afraid that Patrick Graham was going to run a single high safety system, that we were going to continue to allow explosive plays left and right, because when you are playing with the single high safety all the way back, that's only one man that's covering the deep part of the field. That's what he did in Miami. He played deep high, single high safety at one of the highest rates in the National Football League. Instead, what we got is the Giants were playing cover 3 at one of the highest rates in the National Football League in 2020. And Patrick Graham completely flipped the script. And that was and that led to the Giants being a defense that did not allow the explosive pass play. So, now what is Patrick Graham going to do?
Yeah, we thought Graham was going to be the blitz and run man coverage type guy. And he wanted to be that, like he did want to be that. Remember Pittsburgh towards the second half of that game, where he's like, all right, we're going to, on third down, we're going to send 5 or whatever, and we're going to play man coverage. And they just abused us. It was just throwing back shoulder throws at Ballantyne all game. Now, granted, maybe, Isaac Edom or Ryan Lewis does a better job than Ballantyne, but still, like, that's how they beat us. And we really got away from that. And it's like, okay, well, we can't just run these basic zones all game. We'll start disguising looks and stuff like that. So I still expect him to do all of that. But, Justin, this allows Patrick Graham to be a little more ballsy at times. Where on third down, guess what? We're blitzing. We're sending guys at you, and we are putting our guys in man coverage. We're letting Peppers spy the running back, and we're putting our dudes in man coverage on your receivers and tight ends. We're putting Logan Ryan on the tight end. We're putting our corners at your receivers. Try and beat us. And guess what? What does that lead to more, Justin?
It's going to lead to more pressure.
More pressure, more turnovers. And Justin, let's talk. We're talking about third down. The Giants are the 9th best defense in the NFL in 2020. So, like, this is no complaint of the defense. They exceed our expectations. They had the 9th worst third down conversions. They were the 9th worst team in the league at stopping teams on third down. That's going to change with Adoree Jackson. That is, for all the reasons I mentioned before, that we're going to put these guys in man coverage and we are going to test you. And going back to 2019 with Betcher, one of the things that's frustrating with him is like, hey, you need to blitz a little more because you don't have the guys to not blitz. Like, they would just tear us up. Teams, I mean, I remember I broke it down against the Jets, and Sam Darnold on third down versus the blitz was was 0 for 5 with one scramble for a conversion. And then on plays where we didn't blitz on third down, he was like 6 for 7 with over 100 yards. It's like, it was the easiest thing to pick apart. With Graham, at least he does disguise it a little better. But now it's like, hey, we're gonna blitz. We're gonna force you to make a decision and make a decision quick, which leads to turnovers. And, we've seen Daniel Jones be one of the most blitz QBs in the NFL. It's going to let Patrick Graham do more. And guess what he's still going to do? Disguise looks, try and confuse you. But there's also going to be reps, and he'll disguise these too. It's like, we're sending 5, 6 at you, and we're putting our dudes in man coverage, and we're going to let our players be better than your players.
And I guess going back to a point that I had at the beginning of the show of, I guess, in a way you would rather have the addition of a cornerback and a really good cornerback versus maybe a premier edge rusher. And one of the reasons also, and Bobby, I think, talks about it perfectly, it does, signing another corner, getting another cornerback on the team, it does open up more for your team, because ultimately, Bobby, we are in a passing league, right? We are in a passing league, and investing in your secondary, it will inevitably make an average to a below average pass rush. It will make them look adequate. I mean, if anything, that's what happened last year. I mean, you look at the breakdown of what Leonard Williams did, pressure-wise, QB hit-wise, sack-wise, versus everyone else. It's pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful.
The defensive tackle group had 21 of the 41 sacks in 2020.
Yeah. So that's not normal. Obviously you were hoping to have a little bit more sustainability at the edge rusher position, where we're not having 9 different players, where Marcus Golden's not traded, O'Shane Zimenez, Lorenzo Carter don't go down with injury, Kyler Fackrell went down with injury even for a few weeks too, even though he was the most consistent presence. So that's why we're hoping some of those numbers even out next year. But investing in your secondary and playing coverage for more than 2.5 seconds, right? Typically quarterbacks are releasing the ball in 2.5 to 2.6 seconds. The fastest sack the Giants had this year was from Austin Johnson, and I think it was 2.7 seconds. I think that was the fastest sack that the Giants had this year.
Versus the Rams.
And that was a play where Austin Johnson just was unblocked, and he just swallowed Jared Goff. He was unblocked. It took an unblocked interior defensive lineman to get to the quarterback in 2.7 seconds. And that was the fastest sack this year. So we talk all the time about coverage sacks. Coverage sacks is how you win in the NFL. And it's because you have good coverage in the back end, and then you need somebody to get home on the front end.
Yep. And again, with something like you just said, the NFL is coverage sacks. That's what gets coverage sacks. That's why the Giants were a team that had a good amount of sacks as a team, is because of coverage. And so I was talking about third down. What were the Giants? What did you like when you look at the Giants? What do you like defense think? Man, bend don't break. Like, that felt like a good theme of them. Like,
because the fact, and this is part of the playing man coverage, Bobby. When you're playing man coverage, you're attaching to your man. You are running next to your man. So the separation is going to be, in theory, not as much versus as you're playing zone coverage. Because what the Giants were doing when they're playing in zone coverage is they're playing back and they're keeping everything in front of them. And then they're coming up and they're making the tackle. You're trying to limit the yards after the catch by coming up and making the tackle. So where the Giants were their weakest in 2020 was, yes, on third down, but also they allowed drives. They allowed 5, 6, 7 play drives, they allowed teams to get to the 50-yard line pretty consistently. But it was they clamped down right before teams would get into field goal range, or even teams that did get into field goal range, they would clamp down before teams had a chance to think, hey, we can score 7 points. That's where they were weakest last year in terms of allowing teams to get to midfield and allowing teams to kind of drive. So hopefully, playing more man coverage, it's going to limit the yards after catch. It's going to limit just the completion percentage overall and the ability to sustain drives for an opposing offense.
And to your point, like you said, teams were able to get drives going. They had the 4th worst time of possession in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, their average time of drive was the 4th worst. And so with that, but they were really good in the red zone. But,
right,
you know, can you expect a team to be that good in the red zone 2 years in a row? You know, like to repeat that red zone success. So this is where the Giants are like, hey, we can't guarantee that we're going to kick, you know, force these guys the field goals, or when they go for it on 4th and 1, we're going to get the stops that we got in 2020. So we got to just be better than them. We got to be better than them. We can't just out scheme them and outthink them. We got to have some players that are just better. And at the end of the day, you know, the old saying, it's about Jimmys and Joes, not X's and O's. Although in the NFL, it is a lot about X's and O's.
Well, we saw that with Patrick Graham. Bobby, this is a common thread of this offseason. We got a lot of comments on the Kenny Golladay video talking about injuries. And we didn't talk about it because we were in a celebratory mode. Because why would we be those guys celebrating a very good signing, getting the best wide receiver that was available on the free agent market? And why would we bring up the injuries? Like, let's not do that. Let's talk about it on the PPP, right? But I guess let's talk about it here. Because really, now we're getting a little bit of a common thread of the moves that the Giants have made this offseason. Of they are kind of bringing in guys, upside guys, but they have a little bit of injury history. So typically Dave Gettleman and Dave Gettleman's moves and Dave Gettleman's off seasons were, I would rather overpay and I would rather invest in players that are going to be available 16 games versus invest in players that have a little bit of an injury history and that I'm going to be taking a flyer on. I would rather overpay for Nate Solder and I'd rather overpay for Golden Tate because they're going to be here for 16 games versus a guy that may be injured. Now, that's different this offseason. John Ross has no monetary investment, but still, John Ross has a little bit of injury history.
I know John Ross got me.
I know, but we know that he got us. And then obviously Kenny Golladay.
Can I get a John Ross?
And obviously Kenny Golladay and Adoree Jackson.
I think the Golladay injuries are overrated, though. Like, he missed one game in 18 and 19. And then this past year had the hip injury. And we kind of know that he wasn't in a rush to come back. And I don't think anyone really blames him for that. But I do think that was something Judge wanted to mention. Like, I don't like his rookie years, like he had just broken to the league. So I don't view that as like, oh, he's injury issue. Like, he missed before this season, he missed one game. And then like it seemed like every week it was like a decision on him after that this past season. So, but Adoree, it is more real. Like 18 games of the past 2 years, 13 this previous season. I was surprised injuries and contract can be brought into one. I was surprised that he got that contract. Actually, you know what, Justin, since we're talking about money, why don't you read the ad?
Speaking of money, Bobby Skinner, the tournament, that's March Madness, it's in full swing, and the action has not disappointed. So, it says here, please discuss any upsets or exciting storylines. My heart was broken with Rutgers. I'll just say it. Now,
and then
fun fact.
Shook too.
Fun fact.
Rutgers screwed it up big time. Like, that was going to be the most fun bracket, and the Rutgers screwed it up.
They really did. Rutgers, Syracuse. Oh, come on. That would have been like a Big East. It would have been awesome. So, if I could actually bet in the state of New Jersey on Rutgers, that's a fun fact. You cannot bet on the school that is in your state. So I can't bet on Rutgers. But if I could, I would have put my life savings that they would have covered the 8.5 point spread against Houston. And they did. They 100% did. I mean, they were winning double digits. They should have won the game. I knew they were going to cover the spread because I'm really smart at college basketball because I filled out so many brackets and I know exactly what's going on. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting new customers in the center of the action. Bet $1 on any tournament game, and if your team wins, you win $100. It's that simple. Do you see I had to bring the phone closer to my face? I don't have my glasses on. Turning $1 into $100 is 100-1 odds. Nice, simple, easy numbers. Pick any college basketball team that's still in the hunt for your shot at winning $100. All it takes is a $1 bet, and that team winning their next game. That is it. There's no better way to put your college basketball knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is with DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't worry if college basketball isn't for you. DraftKings Sportsbook has 101 odds on select fighters for this weekend's of UFC 260. Fighting! DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOHNBOY when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 if the college basketball team of your choosing pulls off the win. That's code JOHNBOY to turn $1 into $100 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 years or older. New Jersey, Indiana, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. That was really good, right?
That was great.
Wow.
I found my thing in the Giants article, but it's not anything to be celebrated about.
You had a tweet that was in the Giants
It's
article.
nothing to be celebrated because here
Is it one of those
here
BS
I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Is it one of those BS social media reaction things?
Yes.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Here, I'm going to put in the chat.
The average content creator would celebrate like
sent it to me. Yeah, I thought. And by the way, the Giants social media, like I've tried. Anyways, never mind.
The Giants will just never recognize good things that are happening around their team. Like you would think that they would recognize who like LPG's existence by now, but they don't.
No, they're just like, we'll do our own thing.
All right, we're the Giants.
Which if I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't care. But now that I am doing this, I do care. So you know what? Screw you, you dumb media scumbag, Bobby. All right, 3 years, $39 million, $13.5 million signing bonus. The first year, Justin, is $16 million.
Good amount.
Which, we thought they were going to backload this stuff. This one's front loaded.
Maybe they're banking on. I mean, they're not banking. I don't want to think that they're banking on anything. But if injuries creep up in future years, they want an out.
I don't blame them, but I'm surprised they've got it figured out to where they can do it that way.
Yeah, because
like we didn't think like if you have a choice, yeah, you would rather front load. Like you would always rather front load than back load. But we didn't think they had the choice, so it was going to be interesting to see how they figure that out. We'll talk about it. I think they'll probably have to cut Yeadham, who says 2.2, and it would make sense.
You know what? Can we talk about that? Why not keep everyone?
To be able to afford everyone.
Yeah. Well,
I would like to keep Yeadham over not keeping him, but
how many years does Yadam have left?
1.
I mean, what does it matter if you feel like you can fit the
if
draft
they can
class?
fit, but they might not be able to fit.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'd rather keep. I wouldn't cut Yeadham for no reason, just because he's not going to start anymore. But if we're looking at guys, if they need the clear space, he would be like number 1 on my list because now we kind of have your role filled. And
I mean, here's the thing: there's
let
so
Julian
many things.
Love be the backup.
There's so many things I feel like they can do before cutting Yadam would be like $1 million.
2.2.
$2 million. I mean, you can trade Ingram for 6. You can restructure Riley Dixon, who should not be one of the top 5 paid punters in the National Football League. They just restructured Nate Solder. So when does that become official, and when does that reflect what's happening in the cap? Which the Nate Solder restructure is very, very friendly for this year, which is, I mean, it makes me like him a lot more. I will be honest. Nate Solder is going to be here, by the way. He has the guaranteed contract of $3 million. There's no, if there was ever me thinking that he may be cut post June 1st or for any reason, he's not. He's here because this contract's guaranteed anyway. Unless the Giants really feel he can't play, which I guess is still a possibility. What else can they do? Nothing, right? They could extend Jabril Peppers, which honestly,
Peppers.
Which honestly, does he not deserve it after his recruiting efforts the last week? Yeah,
I mean, he just deserves it in general.
Yeah, it's a good reward though.
But yeah, this is let's be Debbie Downers. Well, this is big there's always a risk with big contracts. There's always a chance of us in a year or two being like, how did we freaking pay this injury-prone player in Adoree Jackson? Or, it's like there's always a risk with these guys. Just like, and I think we all understand that, but it's also like we should be excited. No, it's like, you know what would we rather do? Not take any risks and not have a chance at being good, or take some risks and have a chance of being good. And I think that's where the Giants land right now.
I wish I can whisper this, but everybody hates when I whisper.
No, I don't really like it either, to be honest.
So I'm just gonna say, hey Bobby, I'm gonna do the hand motion like I am whispering, but I'm not gonna whisper it. Hey Bobby, remember when everybody freaked out, including myself? No, I didn't freak out. I remember when everybody freaked out about Dave Gettleman saying he's not a Windows theory guy and he doesn't believe in like winning within the running back, the star running back that we have within his rookie deal, and then the quarterback that we have within his rookie deal. I think he was lying.
That's what and this is where, I'll get called a homer. It's like, I just will never overreact to what Dave Gettleman says. What he does, let's talk about it. The Devontae Booker contract, the Austin Johnson getting a 200% raise, let's talk about those deals. But like the whole Windows 97, I'm not a window, I don't believe. Like that was basically him just, one, brushing it off, and then two, being like, hey, guess what? If we do sign Daniel Jones, I'm not going to say that it's our time to win is over. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, so you only think he can win under his rookie contract? And then the whole restructuring thing, it's like, well, what he was saying is right. You don't want to restructure like crazy. You don't want to backload like crazy, but you do it. But in an ideal world, you don't want to. You would rather, in a year like last year, you'd like to rather front load some contracts. So that's why I will never overreact to what he says to the media. Like we didn't trade Odell or didn't sign Odell to trade him. Like I will never get upset. We're not moving on from Kevin's. Like we don't have plans to move on from Zeitler. Well, they cut him the freaking next day. Like I'm never going to be bothered by what he says. And I think some people hate that he's arrogant too, which I don't mind that.
Bobby, the Giants have shelled out, and this is from, Zach Rosenblatt did the math. Thank you, Zach, because I hate math. Giants have shelled out $174 million in contracts to Leonard Williams, Kenny Golladay, and Adoree Jackson. They're going for it. I don't blame them. They have to.
Wait. 70. You said 170?
$174 million contracts. Like the three of them added together.
That makes sense. And you
They're
got Bradbury, Blake on the team, Logan. So yeah, the defense is ready to roll. This defense is ready to roll. How ready to roll is this offense? We talked about the draft a little bit on the Galladay episode. I think everybody's leaning O-line at 11 right now. Hell, I don't think people will be mad if we went O-line round 1, round 2. Like I don't do mock drafts a lot, but every once in a while I'll just like official ones that I put out as content or like tweet out. But like today I did one and I was like, you know what? Rashawn Slater at 11. Landon Dickerson at 42. Like,
yep.
So or 43, whatever we have. So I think give Daniel Jones, hey, we talked about it. This year 2, I feel like they screwed Daniel Jones. Year 1, we saw a lot out of him. We saw a lot to love, and there was obviously the things he needed to work on. Year 2, it just felt like a total mess, but then it started to get better towards the end of the season. Year 3, man, they're giving him the stuff to do, to work with. Granted, me and you aren't big fans of Jason Garrett, but we do think he can operate. His offense will be better with better players. To keep long story short,
it's time to go. I'll tell you what. Versus
the goal is the NFC East right now, and that's not because the NFC is bad, but like last year, we always want to win and win. But last year, the goal wasn't like they need to win the NFC East, for most rational people. This year, the goal is you guys the expectation is to win the NFC East.
Oh yeah,
and not at 7 and 9.
I mean, especially when you do look at the competition, though. I mean, there is a chance that sure Dallas can be good, but Dallas does not feel good about their roster right now. They don't.
No, I mean they have the weapons on offense, but their defense is like they were 1 and 3 before Dak got hurt.
Yeah. It's a shame they fired Mike Nolan. Would have loved for him to stay.
Yeah.
But Dallas doesn't feel good about their offensive line right now. They have a lot of offensive line. Tyrone Smith. They feel like it almost rests on like the health of Tyrone Smith. And is he there? Or what are they going to do with their draft pick? Are they going to take Sewell? Bobby, they may sweep up and take Slater. I don't think Slater's going to be on the board. Which then we'll talk more about this as we get to draft month. But Sewell may go top 5, right? And then they need a tackle. I think they need a tackle more than they need a corner. And they know the Giants are gonna take Slater, so it's not like they can let him sit on the board. So, and then you look at Washington. Washington has Ryan Fitzpatrick. What's something that I wanted to say? I wanted to say
Ryan Fitzpatrick's so fun, but can we stop pretending like Fitzpatrick is like some huge like addition to Washington?
Well, I brought him up because I don't think adding Ryan Fitzpatrick should be any excuse for the Giants to not win the NFC East.
I know, but I'm just saying, like when people bring that up to me, it's like Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's like, do people not remember who Ryan Fitzpatrick is? Like people only remember the good times.
Yeah. But think of where we were like 7 days ago, Monday night, 9:06 p.m. Think of exactly where we were and how we were feeling about this football team 7 days ago. And we were like, oh, I don't know. I was anxious, not like Debbie Downer, but I was just very overall anxious about what can we do? What actually can the Giants do? What will they do? What do they want to do? How do they see this team? Bobby, they clearly see this team as a team that can do something and should do something. And I love that. Like I can feel the belief. The players believe in the Giants, which that's a feeling that I have not experienced as a fan that has been like really, really following the team like I am right now. These players believe in the team. I don't think, the Giants can ask Logan Ryan to fly up from Florida and come recruit guys, but I don't think that happens unless he really wants to. I don't think Jabril Peppers is taking guys out to dinner. I don't think Darnay Holmes is going on Twitter and recruiting players if they don't really want to. So it's fun to see that these players believe in what we're doing, and it's manifesting with how people want to come here as well.
What do you think it's like when you're Isaac Yadam and everyone in your position group is like begging for them to upgrade?
Isaac Yadam, if he's released, he may have a market. Not like a tremendous one.
He'll land on a team. That doesn't mean he has a market. But I'm saying, how does he feel though? Where it's like, man, they think I suck. That's got to be so weird. Like it's so hard for me to grasp that. It's like you are a top high school player, top recruit. You go to college, one of the top players. You get drafted in the 3rd round. Like you are an awesome football player. Then you go to the NFL and you suck. That's got to be so weird.
Tough. Tough for Isaac Yadam.
Get better at football, Isaac. We love you.
Yeah, we do love you.
Trey Turner's still out there. He's a free agent. If the contract is low, Trey Turner could be a guy to maybe test the waters out on.
Shortstop for the Nationals?
Nope, guard for the Panthers and then the Chargers.
I think we're done.
Dave Gettleman draft guy.
I think we're done. How? I mean, I don't know. First of all, again, I pleaded.
I mean, no, we're not totally done, but like I get what you're saying.
I pleaded the 5th when it came to the cap space and how the cap works before free agency, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna be woefully ignorant on it because I don't understand it. Don't understand how Kevin Abrams, cap god, is currently managing all this. But I think in terms of big moves we're done, or even just moderately big moves like bringing in like a Kyle Rudolph. I don't think that's happening. I think we're done.
But I'm not saying to do that for Trey Turner. I'm saying Trey Turner may not have a big market. You could get him for $2 million. So yeah, I'm not saying go out and spend like $5-6 million on Trey Turner. But if it gets down that low, and some good guards have been signed, we miss you, Kevin Zeitler. Then I could see it happening. So, Justin, not much better than being a Giants fan right now. I know we're being a little dramatic, but it's fun. Is there anything better than the fresh mowed grass at the ballpark on opening day? How about freshly groomed balls? Our sponsors at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, are here to help you strike out your bush for good. It's a whole new balls game, folks, and Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code GIANTS at manscaped.com. Here, I have a question for you, Justin.
Yes.
Are we a baseball podcast?
No.
then why the hell do we have a baseball read? We shouldn't give us a football read, Manscaped, or whoever handles this. Our listeners don't care about baseball. Don't care about baseball. Like, okay, Manscaped has the lawnmower 3.0 trimmer. Like, I use it all the time. It's a great product, but it's like, I don't want people to tune out of this ad read because they hate baseball. We are a football podcast. They want to hear about football. Let's hear some football jokes, Manscaped, because you have all these great products and you got me reading about baseball. Yeah. I mean, they got the ceramic blade and advanced skin safe technology. Your snags will be reduced with a close shave. The Lawnmower 3.0 is simply the best hygiene tool for the hygiene tool. It's a jewel too for the modern man. And it's true. Like, it's an awesome product. The crop preserver, it's anti-chafing. Like, that's big time, especially it's going to start getting a little hotter now. You're going to need that. The spray-on toner. I haven't used that a ton, but when I do use it, I'm always very happy with it. They give you a travel bag. Like, they give you everything. And the main thing is the Lawnmower 3.0, Justin. Like, that thing's a beast. Like, when they say lawnmower, it works like a lawnmower, and it works good. No snags.
I'll say, well, I mean,
I use it recklessly.
Recklessly, geez. You used it recklessly. You want to know how many times I've used it? I used it once because first time I used it, it was so good. Haven't needed it since.
Maybe you should do it again.
Maybe I should get that checked out.
Yeah. So you get that checked out, and Manscaped, give us a football read, because we like football. We're not baseball people. How many people that listen to us probably hate baseball? Like, listen, I'm not saying I'm not knocking baseball, but there's a lot of people who hate baseball, and I don't want to hate them to hate the great products that Manscaped provides. So
Houston is a city of losers.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code Giants at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use code Giants. Make sure you use the damn code. Baseball's back. Don't let your pubes get out of whack. And I have a fun story. Our audience is 99% male, but I always do get uncomfortable saying pubes for the 1% female.
Stop.
Now, we forgot to do Giants story. So if you're someone who listens to our podcast for like, I want to hear the hard-hitting analysis, this is Giants stories, where we literally look at their Instagram stories, write down what they have, and we talk about it. We talk about them. It's a good way to learn about these guys' personalities, and we forgot to do it last week, so we're catching up on it. Plus, we have an interview with Nick Filato on Friday's pod.
Oh,
bam! Breaking that news. How about that? Talking about the draft. First real draft talk on the pod. All right, Justin, cue the music. Dion Lewis was on a bike ride with his daughter. Is he going to be on the roster? We don't know. BJ Hill got a blizzard from Dairy Queen. I've never gotten a blizzard from Dairy Queen. Leonard Williams was riding go-karts and went to Universal Studios. Adrian Colbert was beach fishing. Chad Slade was in the Bahamas with a casino. And he saw Dr. J there. Cam Fleming was eating sushi with Nick Gates. Trent Harris was skiing. Austin Johnson was at an aquarium with gators and sharks and demons and goblins. Xavier McKinney was at the gun range. And guess who else went to the gun range? Cam Brown. Cullen Gillespie, our new fullback, was at a Parker McCollum concert. Darius Slayton was at the drag strip. Caden Smith was at a Chase Rice strip. Drag strip is in racing, Justin. Alfred Morris was playing Foursquare. And Julian Love was in Hawaii. Justin, what piques your interest?
Did you think I meant drag strip as in like drag?
You gave me the weirdest look when I said that. So
well, here's the thing. I gave you we have talked about numerous times how Darius Slayton is a speed demon and how he would be the most likely one to be arrested because he would be
listeners
speeding.
Don't tweet that at Darius Slayton. How about that? Because I listen, this is on us, but someone asked us like who would be the first player to get arrested, and we said Slayton just for speeding.
And did people tagged him in it, right?
Yeah, people are like, he posted a picture of cars and like, look, Bobby Skinner, this guy would be the first to get arrested for speeding. I was like, don't tag him.
Are you kidding?
Don't do that. Don't do that. What I thought was cool was Xavier McKinney. The video is so funny. I think I might even have my phone. He was at the gun range. So he's, shoot, a semi-automatic. And
That's
then
how
he
it
just
goes.
started like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da-da," and they had to like stop him, like, dude, chill out. Like this isn't like a, like a war zone or whatever.
Who went to Dairy Queen?
BJ Hill. I've never been to Dairy Queen.
What?
And there used to be one in my town. I've never been to Dairy Queen in my life.
Oh, the blizzards, cookie dough. Oh,
Leonard
anything ice
Williams
cream.
Leonard Williams went from a Cali guy to a Florida guy.
He's going to be in Nebraska next offseason. He's got to he's got to go in the middle.
Like last season, it was all maybe I don't know, but this year he's been in Florida like all off season.
I think him and Dave Tollefson would have a great time together.
I think anybody and Dave Tollefson would have a great time together. Shout out Dave, Talking Giants Ring of Honor.
Who was fishing?
Adrian Colbert, who he's technically a free agent.
Yeah, and you included Cam Fleming on this too, and I was like, ooh.
But until these guys sign with another team, I keep him on. Like I kept. Well, speaking of which, you know what this means, though, right, Justin?
Does this mean that we have to unfollow Cam Fleming?
No, we have to unfollow Dalvin Tomlinson.
Oh, okay. This is going to be tough.
Let's see. He has a story up right now. He's reposting the Giants things, thanking him.
What song should I hum?
I will
remember.
All right. Unfollowed Dalvin Tomlinson.
You will.
Did we lose any other players? We unfollowed Kevin Zeiler.
Should we just unfollow Evan Engram right now?
No.
Cam Fleming and Nick Gates were hanging out together?
Yeah.
I didn't see that combo.
Yeah, they're having dinner.
I know Nick Gates and Will Hernandez were working out together last summer.
Yeah. I don't put workouts or video games on here.
No, but I'm just thinking of like friends. Like I don't picture them being friends. I'm gonna be honest. One plays center, one plays right tackle. I'm sure they never spoke to each other.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Foursquare is an elite game. Alfred Morris was playing that. Foursquare is an awesome game to play.
You're still hoping he makes his way back into this team.
Someone's got to be the third running back. Let's see. Yeah, that's basically it. Trent Harris was skiing. I found out somebody else is skiing, and I can't tell you why. That was really douchey of me.
You can't do that.
I know. Joe Judge is a skier. Okay, I felt bad because I did I found something out. Joe Judge likes to ski. So how about that?
How about that? Not on an Instagram story.
No, not on. It wasn't on. I wish Joe Judge had an Instagram. It would be probably pretty boring, and we would never talk about him. But, Justin, I think that's it.
You think that's it? Adoree Jackson, fun, a lot of upside. Hope he's healthy. Here's another fun fact: Logan Ryan and what's his name? Adoree Jackson. Just said his name, forgot it. They have veneers. Veneer. I keep on saying veneers. It's veneer. Because I commented on their pearly whites. I was like, some NFL players have really nice teeth, and they're really white and they're really nice. And I said, now I'm self-conscious about my oral health. And then somebody was like, that's not their real teeth. And I was like, no, because I'm woefully ignorant on a lot of things in life.
I didn't know that either, to be honest.
All right, I don't feel too bad because you're a smart person.
Not really. All right, we appreciate you guys. We'll be back Friday with Nick Filato. We're going to be talking about mid-round prospects. We did that episode last year. Last year, we got to find out about Matt Parrott, so I'm looking forward to seeing who we talk about this year.
So, fun fact. No, this is false. I was about to say a false statement. I was going to be like, this is the first episode of Talking Giants that I will be missing since I joined the program. That's false. The Nick Filato episode last year. So I get one episode off a year.
Well, we got to do the intro and stuff. Like they might sign like somebody for $250,000. We got to talk about that. So you'll be on it.
Damn. I thought I was going to give myself one episode off every year.
Nope. I used to be like, I refused to miss. And then my dog died. And then my grandpa died. So I was forced to miss 2 episodes. But I was I will never miss an episode of Talking Giants.
Tough.
Well, what's nice is now we have Danny. Like we could sub Danny and it's like I would never want the listeners to miss an episode of Talking Giants. So
no, never.
All right, appreciate you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Until then, let's go Big Blue.